So the BBC have now admitted that they were wrong and they breached their impartiality rules when they were interviewing the former Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett. So people who are watching may remember it was a couple of months back now when the Israeli Defense Forces were engaged in combat with the Islamic Jihad terror group in Gaza. There was an interview between the Naftali Bennett and a BBC presenter where the BBC presenter said, her name was Anjana Gadgil, she said that Israel is happy to kill children. She said that directly to them and directly to the Prime Minister. And he was, the former Prime Minister, I should say, and he was very sort of taken back by this. And he was, how can you say that kind of thing? But he handled it very well because he actually sort of put her in her place and said it was, it's disgraceful that they're even saying this because Israel is dealing with terrorists and they have only killed terrorists. And by that point, the only kills they'd had were of terrorists from the Palestinian Islamic Jihad terror group. Unfortunately, some of those terrorists were children because against international law, Palestinian Islamic Jihad uses child soldiers and we're using them against Israel. And so, I mean, it's disgraceful. This is the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's meant to represent the British people. And yet they're actually there effectively defending the actions of terrorists by doing bad journalism. Like they were doing a bad job smearing Israel, saying you're killing children, when actually they should have been holding the Palestinian terrorists to account for their war crimes of using child soldiers. It is a war crime to do that.
Yeah, it is.
And Israel was dealing with these actual terrorists armed with guns who were trying to murder Jews, and Israel was being blamed. And the BBC were putting out this lie that Israel is happy to kill children. And so it's good that the BBC has now acknowledged that it breached its impartiality rules. The BBC in the past has already apologised for this, but unfortunately, this is pretty much where it ends.
Yes.
They've already put out they've put out a correction saying it shouldn't have been said in, some faraway corner of their website, which no one will read kind of thing. Yeah. And they now see it as a closed case, whereas actually, at the time, millions of people would have seen this biased interview and the damage was already done.
We all know how quickly people receive and move on from reading news, and how it spreads also and gets cited in different places across various platforms. Unfortunately it was too late, but at least it has been acknowledged, and let's hope that lessons have been learned because we've seen it far too many times. And unfortunately, it is a way in which the enemies of Israel will try and cite credible sources, then twist it or take things out of context in order to support the narrative. So people like organizations like the BBC have a tremendous responsibility to make sure that facts like this, when reporting Israel, is true and correct. So
exactly.